In India's southern state of Tamil Nadu, at least 39 people are dead and 58 injured after a stampede broke out during actor-turned-politician and TVK chief Vijay's campaign rally in Karur district. Several attendees fainted as the crowd swelled beyond control, following which the stampede took place. Children and party workers began collapsing, triggering panic. Vijay, who was addressing the crowd, paused his speech immediately. He urged calm, asking his supporters to make way for ambulances. Emergency teams rushed in and medical aid was deployed on site. Water bottles were handed out to help the distressed, and those in critical condition were moved to nearby hospitals. Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has announced an ex gratia of 10 lakh rupees for the families of those who lost their lives in the tragedy. Chief Minister Stalin has also ordered a high-level inquiry into the incident. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Home Affairs has sought a detailed report from Tamil Nadu government on the circumstances that led to the stampede. Former Minister and DMK leader Senthil Balaji visited a hospital in Karur and met the injured victims. He said over 58 people have been admitted in the hospital. Among those, 46 are in private hospitals and 12 in the government facility.
I'm standing here with deep sorrow. I'm unable to describe the horrific accident that took place in Karur. Yesterday around 7:45 p.m. IST, while I was in Chennai speaking with officials, I received the news that such an incident had taken place in Karur. As soon as I received the information, I called former Minister Senthil Balaji, asked him to inquire and instructed him to go to the hospital. When I heard the news about the death toll, I instructed the nearby ministers to go to Karur.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has offered his condolences. In a post on X, Prime Minister said, and I'm quoting here, "The unfortunate incident during a political rally in Karur, Tamil Nadu is deeply saddening. My thoughts are with the families of those who lost their loved ones, wishing strength to them in this difficult time, praying for a swift recovery to all those injured." And while joining us live on the broadcast is our principal correspondent, Siddharth MP, on the phone line. Thank you so much, Siddharth, for joining us. If you could just quickly tell us, what is the ground situation as of now?
So as it stands, Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has conducted a review. He's visited the victims undergoing treatment at the hospital. The latest figures that we have from the Tamil Nadu government is that there are 39 people who unfortunately lost their lives in this incident. So it's a mix of men, women and children that have lost their lives. So because this was a political event and not just a standard political event, it involved one of the biggest cinema stars in the country itself. He's not just limited to Tamil Nadu because this is one of the highest earning actors in India and he's got a massive fan following. So it is for him that people had gathered on the streets. So which is why it was not just the adults and the voting population, but people had gathered along with children to catch a glimpse of their star. But you know what transpired there was that people had waited for several hours. It was a pretty hot and humid day. At least 35 degrees centigrade was the temperature average on, throughout yesterday pretty much. So it is amid such a situation that this rally was held inside the city in very cramped roads and in very cramped public spaces. So people had to obviously wait for hours. There are also clear indications that the police had to resort to bait and charge at one point in time. There are some suspicions, unconfirmed though, that could have perhaps aggravated the stampede-like situation later last night. So there are several issues swirling about right now. There are 39 people who've lost their lives, unfortunately. 51 people who are undergoing treatment. We're given to understand that only one person in that 51 is in a kind of bad situation and, treatment is being offered to all of them. At the same time, let's remember that the government has announced that there will be a one-person commission headed by a retired court judge who will be probing the incident and what took place there. As for the police, they say that they received a very minimal estimate from the party that is organizing this event on how many people are expected to turn up, but then the crowds swelled much more than that, and they had made enough adequate arrangements for security to be provided at the particular venue. So that's what the police maintains. However, we'll have to wait to see whether there were any further lapses on the police's part, because clearly it has emerged that the police were involved in some instances of bait and charging the crowd. So this is something that could have perhaps aggravated the situation there on the ground when it comes to the stampede-like situation that emerged all of a sudden. So, the situation overall looks very bad because, it's very rare for such kind of a mishap to take place at a political political event. Questions are also being raised as to why such an event could not have been hosted perhaps at an open ground where there would have been better crowd management measures and, larger spaces for people to gather rather than crammed city roads or rather district roads where anyway there's not too much space for even routine traffic to move. But imagine a political gathering happening at one such venue. So these are the questions being raised. And obviously at this point in time, it's even still a little too early to comment because the government maintains that we'll have to wait for the committee's report before the government can comment anything on what took place. That's what we're given to understand at this point in time.
Absolutely. Of course, several questions are being raised as to, as you mentioned, why did the whole event take place in such a small space, especially when we know that such an event has been taking place before. The actor turned politician has, of course, made this whole event a bigger one. Last time we saw that. But thank you so much for joining us on the phone line and giving us all the details.